Hi everybody, and welcome to this more in-depth overview of working with higher versus lower keyframe densities with the Anym plugin. So what we're going to do in this video is we are going to illustrate how both a very high and very low keyframe density might function in getting the optimal animation for your project. So first we're going to look at a low keyframe density. So what I've set up here is a sort of running forward and then changing direction 180 degrees and running the other direction animation. Here I have 3 keyframes, 1 at keyframe 0, here this sort of running pose at frame 15, and then finally this pose direction change, slightly weight shifted mid running pose. So just for reference, in Maya's native interpolation engine, this is what it looks like. So it's not yet resembling the animation that we are hoping it's going to turn into. And these 3 keyframes we can now use to generate a first version of this animation. So just like before, we select the pose, we set the total frames to say 3 seconds, 90 frames at 30 fps. We click generate, and there is our first rough version of this running and changing direction animation. So as you can see, it does what we asked. The foot contacts are good. It changes directions, it keeps weight shifting in mind where necessary and appropriate, depending of course on velocity, which then again depends on the timing of your keyframes, but overall this is a good first rough version of this animation that we are trying to obtain. However, as you can see in the turning motion itself, it looks neutral. It could be premeditated. It's a rough changing of direction, which is physically plausible, but there's not much expression in it yet. So what happens if we want more expression in this part of the animation, in the changing of the turn from direction A to direction B? Say we would like our character to look like he forgot something, or he suddenly has to change direction. He's not running around a course, but he's running back to where he came from as quickly as he can. So in order to get a more characteristic animation here, I have set up 2 additional keyframes. This one at 30 frames in a more sort of sudden change of direction, and then this one at 45 frames, so 1.5 seconds in, with a more aggressive change in direction, indicating a more direct change in velocity. And we end up with one of our first keyframes, this third one. So now this is what Maya's own interpolation engine yields, just for reference, so a very rough blocking of the animation we are looking for, with now 5 keyframes, each sped half a second apart. So just like before, we're going to select our pose here, we're going to have Maya extract our keyframes, and there we have a more characteristic version of the running and changing direction animation that we had before. So as you can see, in this changing direction part of the animation, we now have a more distinct version of what we were looking for. We have a more distinct changing of direction, it's more instantaneous, while still physically plausible and in line with the rest of the motion that we are asking the model to interpolate. Feet contacts again are as we expect them, but we have a more direct, more aggressive shift in velocity overall. Now let's unlock this animation and view it in our Maya scene once more, just for completion. We unlock the animation, we export it, and back in our Maya scene, if we click Fetch Exported Animation like we did before, the output of our Anym model appears. So just to see them side by side, there we have Maya's own interpolation and our smart interpolation with our Anym software. So just to see it in clearly, hiding the other original animation and the poses, this is what we end up with. So what we've illustrated here is that both a higher density and a lower density of keyframes yield the animation results that you are looking for. For more creative control, you can have a higher density of animation, like for making this change of direction more expressive, but you can still have a low density of keyframes overall and have the physicality and the rest of the motion interpolated by the animal. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.